Good afternoon, class. My name is Specialist Wood, and today I will be conducting training over task 071-Charlie Oscar Mike 0815. The topic is practicing noise, light, and litter discipline. Before we get started with training, however, I do want to go over a brief risk assessment. Although we are indoors, there are still some potential hazards that we need to cover. The overall risk assessment for this class is low. However, there are cords present, and these do pose a tripping hazard. Try and tuck them away and prevent entanglement with these cords. There are ceiling fans in this room as well, one over there and one over there. Please be aware of their locations. We have seated you away from these fans, however, take care when stretching. Dehydration is always a risk, whether it be indoors or outdoors, so please ensure that you are drinking water regularly. And lastly, there are multiple outlets in this room. Please take care to avoid electrocution and avoid putting anything in the outlets that does not belong. In the case of an active shooter, we will follow the run, hide, fight philosophy. The first part of that is to run, egress the room, and escape the shooter. Proceed to safety if possible. If that is not possible, hide. Find an appropriate hiding spot. Also, it's important to remember to find a spot that provides cover as well as concealment. The last resort is to fight and use all necessary means at your disposal to destroy the enemy. Also, want to have you keep in mind that the Army Green policy is reduce, reuse, recycle. So please recycle all water bottles, snack wrappers, etc. At the conclusion of this training. Prior to starting, I'm going to conduct an initial PCC-PCI. You will need a poncho, a canteen cup, a flashlight, tape, and your ID tags. I will now go over the task, conditions, and standards for this class. I'm Specialist Wood, and today we're going over task 071-Charlie Oscar Mike 0815, practice noise, light, and litter discipline. Conditions: you are a member of a mounted or dismounted element conducting a tactical mission and have been directed to comply with noise, light, and litter discipline. Enemy elements are in your area of operation. Some iterations of this task should be performed in MOP 4. However, at this time, we will not be performing any iterations in MOP gear. Standards: prevent enemy from locating your element by exercising noise, light, and litter discipline at all times. I will give step-by-step instruction and then demonstrate each step in detail, adding additional information as necessary to clarify performance steps and performance measures. So, we want to, 1, avoid noise discipline, exercise noise discipline, avoid all unnecessary vehicular and foot movement, secure with tape or other materials metal parts, avoid all necessary talk, use radio when necessary, set radio volume low so that only you can hear, use visual techniques to communicate. So I'm going to go ahead and go over these steps again with a demonstration. Exercise noise discipline is just being mindful of the noise that you're putting out, trying to move as little as possible. If you have things that are noisy, you're going to want to secure them with tape. Probably the best way to do that is to take your tape the handle down so that it can't move, and then proceed to do that on the other side. So now it's a lot quieter. You can also do this with your ID tags or anything that might make noise on your pack or your sling, or anytime metal is clanking against metal. So if we tape them together here, now it's a lot more silent. You probably want to make sure that this little chain also gets tucked down so that doesn't make any noise either. It's important to note that when you are using tape to eliminate noise, please don't obstruct the moving parts of weapons or vehicles or anything that needs to move in order to be effective. Exercise light discipline. The number one part of this is do not smoke. Important to keep in mind that smoking, the light can be seen, and you can also smell the cigarette smoke in the air. Also, on the topic of tobacco use, it's important to remember that chew cans also can be noisy when closed, so probably best to avoid using or opening chew cans at that time too. Conceal flashlights or other light sources so the light is filtered, for example, under a poncho. So the best way to do this is to take your poncho, and then you have your flashlight. Ideally, this would be a red light flashlight because white light travels much further than red light. But for this training purpose, we're using white light. Okay, if you bring your flashlight inside the poncho, you can shield the light from your flashlight. You'll probably want to cover your head if you're needing to read something, and maybe use a Battle Buddies poncho as well to make sure no light is escaping out of the sides. Cover or blacken anything that reflects light, for example, on our ID tags or anything that could be shiny. Make sure they're tucked away and covered, or something on a vehicle that shines, blacken with grease or something along those lines. Also conceal vehicles and equipment with available natural camouflage. We also want to exercise litter discipline. Establish a litter collection point, empty food containers, empty ammunition cans, boxes, old camouflage, etc. when occupying position. If at all possible, wrap MRE heaters in a bag or with tape so they don't give off that distinct smell of MRE heating. Verify all litter has been collected in preparation for leaving a position. Take all litter with you when leaving a position. So, you can see what is expected of you after going over the task's standards. Remember, it is important to observe all cautions, warnings, and dangers to avoid injury to personnel or damage to equipment. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and give each of you 5 minutes to practice this task. You can go ahead and practice for 5 minutes. Since it's been 5 minutes, I'm going to end the practice. And at this point, I'm going to restate the task, conditions, and standards. Once again, this is 071-Charlie Oscar Mike 0815, practicing noise, light, and litter discipline. Conditions: you are a member of an element conducting a tactical mission and have been directed to comply with noise, light, and litter discipline. Enemy elements are in your area of operation. Some iterations of this task should be performed in MOP 4. However, this time we will not be performing any iterations in MOP gear. Standards: prevent enemy from locating your element by exercising noise, light, and litter discipline at all times. And now at this time, we are going to go ahead and conduct the evaluation part of this training. You will achieve a go status if all performance measures are passed. You will receive a no-go if performance measures are failed. If you receive a no-go, you'll be shown what was done wrong and how to do it correctly. Remember that if any performance measure is failed, this evaluation will be over. So we're going to go ahead and start the evaluation now. This concludes our training. However, since there were failures, there's a few items we need to take care of before you are dismissed. First, we will have retraining tomorrow, 18 August at 09 in building 1234. Same uniform and equipment as today. Then retesting will be 18 August 2021, building 1234. Once again, same uniform and equipment as today. As we wrap everything up, we need to conduct a police call, which is practicing litter discipline like we just learned. And I'm going to conduct a PCI of your training aids. Once again, we need a poncho, a canteen cup, flashlight, tape, and ID tags. Moving on, we are going to conduct an AAR. Before we begin the AAR, I just want to go over a few ground rules for this activity. Everyone has a right to speak, and I want to encourage maximum participation. Remember, please do not talk over each other, wait your turn to talk, and as always, be respectful of differing viewpoints. So, as we start our AAR, what was supposed to happen? The things that were supposed to happen were myself greeting and introducing myself and the task, risk assessment describing overall hazards, controls, and environmental hazards and concerns, brief PCC items that you'll need to complete the task. I needed to state the task conditions and standards verbatim, introduce myself again, give step-by-step instruction demonstrating each step in detail, ensure all notes, cautions, and warnings are stated in the order they appear in the STP. I was supposed to give you time to practice. Also needed to restate task conditions and standards and then conduct the evaluation. And also inform the audience that if any PM has failed, the evaluation is over. So what did happen? What were things that went right and things that went wrong? How do I improve training for next time? And then, were there any injuries or damaged equipment today? Were all control measures implemented effectively? There were no injuries, so we can feel confident that control measures were implemented effectively. At this time, I am requesting to close out the training site as this training evaluation has concluded. You are dismissed. Thank you so much.